It's late. You're on the couch and your dog is staring at you. Not at your face. At your sandwich? Those eyes, soft, sad, devastating. You know exactly what they're doing. And you give in anyway. Because that's just how it works. Now rewind. Not years. Not centuries. 15,000 years. Before farms. Before villages. Before writing even existed. Humans already had this. A creature, staring at them, waiting. Except back then, that stare could get you killed. So how did this happen? How does an apex predator end up sleeping on your pillow? Crying when you leave the room for 30 seconds? Here's the answer. It's weirder than you think. And honestly, kind of hilarious. Picture this. You're a hunter-gatherer. Somewhere in ancient Eurasia, 15,000 years ago. Your life is simple. Wake up. Find food. Try not to die. Sleep. Repeat. One night, by the fire, you hear something. Rustling. In the dark. You freeze. Two yellow eyes blink back at you. Most animals would run. Or attack. This one just sits there. Watching. And for some reason, you don't throw your spear. That single moment is where this whole story begins. Here's something most people don't know. Dogs are not their own species. Not really. Every dog on Earth, from a terrifying German Shepherd to an embarrassingly tiny Chihuahua, is a domesticated wolf. Same animal, different costume. Which means somewhere, sometime, wolves and humans had a conversation. And it went very differently than it should have. So when did this happen? Scientists have argued about this for decades. They're still arguing. The best estimate? Somewhere between 15 and 40,000 years ago. That's a massive window. Bones don't come with timestamps. But here's what we do know. Dogs were the first domesticated animal. Not cows. Not horses. Not goats. Dogs by a landslide. Horses didn't show up for another 10,000 years. Dogs were already family before humans even invented farming. Now, here's the part that ruins the romantic version. You know the story. Brave caveman finds wolf pups, raises them by the fire. They grow up loyal and loving. Beautiful. Heartwarming. Completely wrong. Here's what nobody tells you about wolves. You cannot tame an adult wolf. Not with love. Not with food. Not with patience. Raise a wolf pup from birth, and it's still a wolf. Still has wolf instincts. Still dangerous. Zoos have known this for centuries. So if humans didn't tame wolves on purpose, what actually happened? The leading theory is almost insulting. The wolves domesticated themselves. Read that again. Here's how. As humans got better at hunting, they got messier. Leftover bones. Scraps. Trash piles, basically. And to a wolf, that's not garbage. That's a 5-star restaurant opening for free. So some wolves, not all, started edging closer. Staying near the fires, waiting. But here's the twist. It wasn't the big aggressive wolves that came closer. Those ones wanted nothing to do with humans. It was the calmer ones. The slightly less scared ones. The curious ones. Those wolves got fed. The aggressive ones stayed hungry. And had fewer pups. Generation after generation, this kept happening. Nobody planned it. Nobody designed it. Evolution was just quietly picking the friendliest wolves. For us. And then something genuinely bizarre happened. In the 1950s, a Russian scientist ran an experiment. His name was Dmitry Belyaev. He worked with silver foxes, and he selected for one trait only: tameness. That's it. Nothing else. Within a few generations, decades, not centuries, something strange started. The foxes didn't just get friendlier. Their ears went floppy. Their tails started to curl. Their coats grew patches of white and brown. Their faces got rounder. Their skulls changed shape. They started seeking eye contact. Nobody selected for any of that. Believ only picked the calm ones. And the foxes turned into something that looked and acted like dogs. Scientists call this domestication syndrome. Friendliness comes with a whole package. Floppy ears, curly tails, puppy faces, all bundled into the same genetic switch. Which means those wolves by the fire. They might have started looking like dogs faster than anyone thought possible. But this wasn't a one-way street. The wolves changed, but humans had to change too. Someone, somewhere, had to not throw their spear. And the genetic evidence is wild. Dogs were domesticated more than once, in more than one place. East Asia, the Middle East, possibly Europe too. Different wolves, different humans, same outcome. It wasn't a single magic moment. It was a pattern. Like the universe kept nudging these two species together. Now let's talk about what this did to the brain. Because dogs aren't just polite wolves. Try this with a wolf. Point at something. A wolf won't look where you're pointing. Not even a hand-raised one. But a dog puppy? Even one with almost no human contact? It looks exactly where you point. Instantly. That's not learned. That's written into their DNA. And then there's eye contact. In wolf society, staring into someone's eyes means a fight is coming. But dogs? Dogs evolved to hold your gaze. On purpose. And when your dog looks into your eyes, both your brains release oxytocin, the bonding hormone, the same one between a mother and her baby. You are literally falling in love chemically, every single time. A carnivore that should want to eat you got rewired to love you instead. And it gets even sneakier. Dogs have a tiny facial muscle just above their eyebrows. Wolves don't have it. It's called the puppy dog eyes muscle. Scientifically, that's basically its job. When a dog uses it, their face goes soft, sad, unbearably cute. And it seems to have evolved specifically because it works on us. It makes you feel guilty, responsible, like you need to give them that last bite of chicken. You think you chose your dog? Your dog's ancestors spent 10,000 years evolving to make sure you would choose them. Sneaky little geniuses. Now here's the part that gets heavy. By around 10,000 years ago, dogs were already deeply part of human life. We know this because of graves. Human graves. With dog bones inside them. Not as food. As companions, some of the oldest burials show a dog placed carefully beside a human, sometimes with a human hand resting on the dog's body. Think about that. In a world of brutal survival, where humans barely lived past their 30s, people still spent emotional energy on their dogs, grieving them, burying them with care. That impulse is 15,000 years old, and it hasn't changed even slightly. Somewhere, right now, someone is buying a tiny, ridiculous coat for a tiny, ridiculous dog and feeling completely fine about it. So what happened next? Once dogs were in, humans took the wheel. And humans turned out to be obsessed with variety. Hunting dogs, herding dogs, guard dogs, sled dogs, even tiny lap dogs for bored aristocrats. In about 15,000 years, which is nothing, evolutionarily, we went from one wolf-shaped animal to the Great Dane, the Dachshund, the Greyhound built for pure speed, and the Bulldog, which looks like a sad loaf of bread, and somehow still has the energy to be a whole personality. Most breeds you know today, barely 200 years old. The Victorians basically turned dog breeding into a competitive sport. Which brings us to now. Dogs live in a position no other animal does. They sleep in our beds. They're in our family photos. Some are even in people's wills. There's a dog somewhere right now with a better life than most humans in history. And it doesn't know that, or care, because it just found a sock. And the sock is incredible. We spend more on pet care than some countries spend on education. When dogs die, we grieve. Really grieve. The same way we grieve people. Because to your brain, that's basically what they are. And here's the thing nobody talks about. With almost every other animal, humans were in control. We caught them, bred them, used them. One-directional? Dogs are different. From the very start, dogs chose us too. They approached, they adapted to us, and we adapted right back. Some researchers think dogs gave early humans a real edge. Warning of danger, helping hunt, acting as a living alarm system. There's a serious argument that without dogs, human history looks different. We didn't just create dogs. In a way, dogs helped create us. So that wolf by the fire 15,000 years ago wasn't just looking for scraps. It was, without knowing it, starting something. A partnership that would outlast empires, languages, entire civilizations. So next time your dog falls asleep on your feet, or stares at you with those eyes while you eat, or completely loses it when your keys hit the door, remember what that is? 15,000 years of evolution, showing up, right now, on your couch. That happiness is ancient. And it was worth it. For them. And for us.